The most dangerous person in the room is not the loudest one, not the smartest sounding one, not the one showing off credentials or talking over everyone else. The most dangerous person is the one who looks harmless, who asks simple questions, who nods quietly while everyone underestimates him. Because while others are busy proving how smart they are, he is busy learning everything about them. And by the time they realize what is happening, the game is already over. Today we're talking about the dangerous advantage of playing dumb. And if you understand this strategy, you will never walk into a room the same way again. Before we go deeper, make sure you hit like and subscribe to Playing Possum, because this channel is all about quiet power, strategic thinking, and moves that win long term. Not just for today, but for life. Now let's break this down. Most people have an ego problem. They want to look intelligent, they want recognition, they want to be seen as capable. So when they enter a meeting, a business deal, a classroom, or even a casual conversation, they try to impress. They speak fast, they correct others, they reveal their knowledge. And in that moment, they feel strong. But what they don't realize is that the moment you show your full intelligence, you also reveal your limits. You show your cards, you show how you think, you show your strategy, and once people see your strategy, they start building defenses against you. Now think about the opposite approach. Imagine walking into that same room and letting people think you are average, not incompetent, not foolish, just normal. You ask basic questions, you let others explain things, you listen more than you speak. What happens? People relax. They stop guarding themselves. They talk freely. They reveal information they would never reveal to someone they see as a threat. This is where the real power begins. Playing dumb is not about being stupid. It is about being strategic with your intelligence. It is about controlling perception. Perception is everything. In business, in politics, in social circles, in negotiations, the person who controls perception controls the outcome. When people underestimate you, they lower their defenses. They reveal weaknesses. They expose plans. They show their emotions. And the more they talk, the more data you collect. Data is power. Silence is leverage. The loud person burns energy. The quiet one stores it. Think about high-level negotiations. The person who speaks first often loses power. The person who asks simple questions often gains clarity. Can you explain that again? How does that work exactly? These sound like small questions, but they force the other person to reveal structure. They expose gaps in logic. And sometimes, the person who thought they were smart starts realizing they don't even understand their own position clearly. That is a subtle shift of power. Now here is where it gets dangerous. When someone thinks you are less capable, they stop competing with you. They stop attacking you. They stop watching you closely. You move under the radar. And under the radar is where real strategies are built. History is full of examples of leaders and strategists who acted weaker than they were. They allowed opponents to grow arrogant. They allowed enemies to become careless. Arrogance creates mistakes. Carelessness creates openings. And openings create victory. But let's bring this to real life. Imagine you are at work. There is a colleague who always tries to dominate conversations. He throws big words around. He wants management to see how smart he is. Instead of competing with him, you step back. You ask him to explain his plan in detail. You let him take responsibility for bold promises. You nod. You support. What happens next? When results don't match his promises, he takes the fall. Meanwhile, you quietly deliver consistent results. Over time, leadership starts noticing the difference between noise and reliability. You win without fighting. That is the dangerous advantage. Another scenario. You are learning a new skill. Many people pretend they already know everything. They avoid asking questions because they don't want to look inexperienced. But the one who plays dumb learns faster. Why? Because he asks. He studies basics. He admits what he doesn't know. While others protect their ego, he builds competence. In 5 years, who is stronger? The one who protected his image, or the one who built real skill? Playing dumb protects you from your own ego. And ego is expensive. It costs opportunities, it costs relationships, it costs growth. When you don't need to prove yourself every second, you free your mind to observe patterns others miss. You start noticing body language, tone shifts, hidden alliances. You see who feels threatened. You see who feels insecure. And when you understand emotions, you understand influence. Influence is not loud. Influence is subtle. It guides without being seen. Let's talk about social situations. Ever notice how people love talking about themselves? When you ask simple questions and genuinely listen, people feel respected. They feel important. They trust you faster. They open up. And the more they open up, the more you understand what motivates them. Later, when you need cooperation, you already know which button to press. Not in a manipulative way, but in a strategic way. Because influence is not about control, it is about alignment. When you know what someone values, you can frame your ideas in a way that connects with them. And that only happens if you listen more than you speak. Now here's the part most people ignore. Playing dumb requires confidence. Real confidence. Because insecure people cannot handle being underestimated. They feel insulted. They react. They try to correct the perception immediately, but the confident person is patient. He knows his value. He does not need instant validation. He understands long-term gain is more powerful than short-term recognition. On Playing Possum, we talk a lot about this mindset. The ability to delay ego gratification is a superpower. When someone underestimates you, that is not an insult. That is an opportunity. It is a strategic gift. They are handing you freedom of movement. They are giving you space to build without pressure. Think about competitive environments, sports, startups, even content creation. The moment you become visible as a threat, competitors study you. They copy you. They attack you. They try to block you. But if you grow quietly, improving your systems, strengthening your skills, building relationships behind the scenes, you reach a level where catching up becomes almost impossible. And when you finally reveal your strength, it looks sudden to others. They call it luck. They call it overnight success. But you know the truth. It was quiet preparation. The danger in playing dumb is not in the act itself. The danger is in what it allows you to accumulate. Information, skill, position, timing, these four things combined create leverage. And leverage wins games. There is also a psychological element. When someone thinks you are less intelligent, they often overestimate themselves. That overconfidence makes them careless. They take bigger risks. They ignore details. They speak without filters. And every careless action becomes an advantage for you. But let me be clear. Playing dumb does not mean accepting disrespect. It does not mean shrinking yourself. It means choosing when to reveal your intelligence. Timing matters. You do not show your full hand at the beginning of the game. You wait. You observe. You measure. Then, when the moment is right, you act decisively. And because no one expected it, the impact is stronger. But prize amplifies power. Let's go deeper into personal growth. When you accept that you don't know everything, you open yourself to learning. Curiosity replaces ego, and curiosity leads to mastery. The most intelligent people often ask the simplest questions. Not because they are clueless, but because they want clarity. Simplicity cuts through confusion. Complex language often hides weak thinking. Simple questions expose truth. Why? How? What happens if? These questions seem basic, but they break illusions. They uncover structure. If you master the art of asking simple questions calmly, people will underestimate you at first. But slowly, they will start realizing that your questions force them to think deeper. That is quiet dominance. There's also emotional safety in playing dumb. When you are not constantly trying to defend your intelligence, you feel less pressure. You become more relaxed, and relaxed minds think clearer. Stress clouds judgment. Ego creates tension. But when you detach from the need to impress, your mind becomes sharper. You start thinking long-term. And long-term thinking is rare. Most people operate on short-term emotion. They react. They compete instantly. They defend pride. But the one who steps back and absorbs information builds strategy. Strategy always beats reaction. Always. Now imagine applying this to conflict. Someone insults you publicly, trying to provoke a reaction. If you react aggressively, you give them what they want. You validate the confrontation. But if you respond calmly, maybe even lightly, asking them to clarify what they mean, you shift the dynamic. They expected anger. They prepared for defense. Instead, they face composure. That composure unsettles them, because they cannot control someone who refuses to play emotionally. Emotional control is another dangerous advantage, hidden inside playing dumb. When people think you don't understand, they often reveal their true emotions. They drop the mask. And when you see the real emotion, you understand the real motive. Motive is everything. Once you understand someone's motive, you can predict their behavior. And when you can predict behavior, you are already ahead. Let's talk about timing again. There will come a moment when you should stop playing dumb. A moment when revealing your capability changes the outcome in your favor. That reveal should be intentional, precise, calm, not dramatic, just undeniable. When that moment comes, people experience cognitive shock. Their mental image of you breaks. In that gap of confusion, your authority rises. They rethink every interaction they had with you. They start respecting you more carefully. That shift is powerful because it was earned silently. But remember this, the goal is not to trick people. The goal is to protect your leverage until the right time. The world rewards visible confidence, but it also studies visible confidence. It attacks visible confidence. Hidden strength lasts longer. If you are always announcing your next move, you are training your competition. If you are always proving your intelligence, you are revealing your limits. Quiet strength, on the other hand, grows in shadows. It develops without resistance. It compounds. And compounding power is unstoppable. Think about your own life right now. Where are you trying too hard to look smart? Where are you speaking more than necessary? Where could you benefit from observing more? From asking instead of telling. From listening instead of correcting. These small shifts change everything. Because once people stop seeing you as a threat, they stop guarding themselves. And when guards drop, opportunities appear. This strategy works in friendships, in business, in negotiations, in leadership, Even in content creation, sometimes the smartest move is not to argue publicly, not to respond to every comment, not to show every plan. Build quietly, improve privately, execute strategically. On Playing Possum, that is the philosophy. Appear calm, appear neutral, appear ordinary, but think deeply, move precisely, strike when it counts. And here's the final layer. Playing dumb teaches humility, and humility attracts allies. Arrogance isolates. When people feel superior to you, they feel safe around you, they mentor you, they guide you, they invest in you, they reveal shortcuts, all because they believe you are still learning. Meanwhile, you are absorbing everything. That is not manipulation. That is strategic humility. And humility with awareness becomes unstoppable growth. So the next time you walk into a room, resist the urge to impress immediately. Let others talk. Let them reveal themselves. Ask, observe, analyze, build quietly. And when the moment demands it, reveal just enough strength to shift the outcome in your favor. That is the dangerous advantage of playing dumb. If this mindset resonates with you, comment below and tell me one situation where you will apply this strategy starting today. Share this video with someone who needs to learn the power of quiet intelligence. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Playing Possum for more strategies on mastering perception, controlling emotion, and building power without noise. Remember, the loudest person in the room is rarely the strongest. The strongest one is usually watching, waiting, and choosing the perfect moment to move.